After landing in a giant half-eaten space meatball and getting a short cameo from Harvey Weinstein, we find ourselves in control of a blue trash can and a British robot who are trying to apply for a new job. While our drugged out friends are trying to be upstanding citizens, we notice his Indiana Jones pet dog is finally being arrested for his multiple crimes against children. But as it turns out, this is secretly a stealth mission to try to break out Harrison Ford. Since the stakes were super high, we decided that we would try to be as sneaky and stealthy as humanly possible. After getting rid of some witnesses, we eventually find Indiana Jones. Unfortunately for us, however, we were caught by a Genshin Impact player. Anyways, now that we've been introduced to your average Redditor and Mark Hamill, we find ourselves committing our daily account of aggravated assault. However, our dream of ruining game devs' lives was ended right after Nikocado Avocado threw us into his kinky dungeon to fight his oversized bulldog. Anyways, after finally beating the oversized pit bull, we find ourselves angering the League of Legends player so much to the point where he decides to feed us to the off-brand version of The Rock. Deciding that death was better than life, we find ourselves escaping our captors and fighting Green Django Fett, who as it turns out was secretly a terrorist bomber. Anyways, after basically backhanding him and sending him to a blind ballerina, we go and commit multiple more accounts of aggravated battery. We also end up saving a random blue trash can who hacks into the pirate ship's mainframe and breaks into the Twitter user's bedroom, where he then decides to bash in the skull of Nikocado Avocado. Anyways, after ending the giant green pug's misery, we finally escape Davy Jones' locker, but not before drastically executing all of the witnesses. Now that we've committed multiple war crimes and have created our own plot holes, we find ourselves traveling back to Universal to watch Shrek the Third die.
The other he spoke of?
Leia. Leia's my sister?
Anyways, after committing some accounts of aggravated battery, we find ourselves coming up with plans to destroy the giant half-eaten space meatball that requires us to go to Fake Earth 2.0. Little were we expecting, however, that the entire planet would be covered with a bunch of angry space Italians. Deciding that Arby's was better than Papa John's, we find ourselves killing as many minimum wage workers as possible. Realizing that we can't leave any witnesses, we go on a massive chase. Little were we expecting, however, that these motorized bicycles were avid believers in the Second Amendment, which instantly made getting rid of minorities that much easier. The fun didn't last, however, as Mark Hamill decided that brain damage was more important than getting rid of witnesses. However, due to plot convenience, Mark Hamill's decision led us straight to Indiana Jones, his pet dog, John, and the British robot. Unfortunately, due to Harrison Ford sending a racially motivated tweet towards furries, we find ourselves being captured by an entire clan. Fortunately, due to plot convenience, they recognize the British robot for his multiple accounts of animal cruelty and decide to make us part of their tribe. This would have been fine, however, there is one problem. They are a bunch of furries.
The Force is strong in my family. My father has it. I have it. My sister has it.
Somehow, I've always known.
Anyways, one of the furries tells Harrison Ford that he is secretly a spy, and that he will both show him where the space Italians are hiding and help him destroy all of the furries. We decide to put him to the test by killing his literal friends and family right in front of him. Anyways, after passing the test with flying colors, we discover where the space Italians are hiding and we go with the intent to warn them. Unfortunately for them, however, we were too late and the entirety of Twitter came to attack us. Fortunately for us, however, our new friend came up with an amazing new idea, but not before getting his carrying license and committing multiple accounts of aggravated battery. Anyways, after trying to understand women and playing a little bit of Just Dance, we watch as Ash Ketchum matchup gets caught by the Youngling Slayer 9000 2.0. Anyways, now that we're in control of an angsty teenager with no father figure and a slightly aggressive emo dad, we find ourselves meeting up with Harvey Weinstein, who regrets to inform us that the half-eaten space meatball had a giant RGB laser on it. Realizing that he needed to save the boys, Mark Hamill attempts to kill the ultimate racist. Unfortunately, his fellow clan wizard highly disagrees, having multiple strokes and aneurysms, and somehow failing to use his son's weird relationship with his sister to turn him to the racist side. The racist gets absolutely demolished by Mark Hamill, but unfortunately Chancellor Poppy, who is expecting more of a show, decided to randomly give Mark Hamill shock therapy. Unfortunately for Harvey Weinstein, the Youngling Slayer 9000 decides to save his son because only he can do that. Anyways, we cut back to the German army, who's having an intense disagreement with the Space Italians. Fortunately for them, however, Indiana Jones blows up all of Twitter, allowing the German army to finally destroy the giant space meatball. We cut back to Twitter headquarters, who's having an absolute meltdown, and we watch as Mark Hamill, Indiana Jones, his pet dog, a German dictator, a British robot, a blue trash can, Sean, Billy December Williams, the Scot, Shrek III, and the Youngling Slayer 9000 all live happily ever after until a bunch of Disney executives decide to get their grabby little hands on the Star Trek universe. And then we finally end our story.